All right, so we're going to start 8.5 today, part 1, and this is adding and subtracting. So whenever you are doing this, adding and subtracting is a little bit more of a pain, but you have to make sure everything has a common denominator. And the denominator is the bottom part of the fraction. So if everything does not have a common denominator, you cannot add or subtract it until it has that. So make sure you do that first. So then add or subtract the numerator. If you are subtracting, distribute the negative. Then do not add or subtract the denominator. So you only do the top part. And then of course, always check if you can simplify. So on this one, let's start with letter A. We're just doing regular old fractions. Do they have a common denominator? Yes. Perfect. So since they already have a common denominator, you just add the numerator. So 1 plus 1 gives you 2, and then you just move that denominator over. You have 2/5. Can you simplify this? Nope. So there's your answer. Okay, next one, common denominator, no. What do I need to do to get a common denominator? Well, 3 and 6 are my denominators, so it looks like I need to multiply the left fraction by something, and that something is 2 to get the bottom to be 6. So whenever you do that, you got to do it to the top and the bottom, so you end up with 4/6 plus 1/6. Now we have a common denominator, so we can add, and it is 5/6, and you cannot reduce that. So now we are minusing 1/4 and 1/3. Could I multiply 4 by something to get it to 3? No. Well, it's going to be a fraction, so no. 1/3, or can we multiply 3 by something to get it to 4? No. So what is the number, the least common multiple of 4 and 3? That would be 12. So I'm trying to get both of these to 12ths. So to get 1/4 to 12ths, I have to multiply that by 3, the top and bottom, and that gives me 3/12ths. And to get 1/3 to 12ths, I have to multiply the top and the bottom by 4, and so that ends up giving me 4/12ths. Okay, now we have a common denominator. We can subtract straight across on the top. 3 minus 4 gives you -1/12. Cannot reduce that, so there is your answer. All right, now we're going to do the same thing, but with, and throw some binomials at you. So x plus 5 over x plus 1, or x minus 1 plus 6 over x minus 1. We do have a common denominator. Cool. So I'm going to have x minus 1, and you are adding the top. So just like whenever you've added stuff before, you have to make sure you have your like terms. So on top, I only have an x, so that's just x. And then positive 5 plus 6 would give me positive 11. Can I simplify that as is? No. Can you factor anything out of the top or the bottom to be able to simplify? Also no. So there is your answer. Okay, this one, so I have, looks like both denominators are the same, so 4 times n minus 1. That's good, so 4 times n minus 1. And then on the top, we have our like terms, so you can do your n's and the whole numbers. So n plus n would give you 2n. And positive 3 minus 5 would give you -2. Okay, now, as is, can you reduce anything? The answer is no. Can you factor anything out of the top or the bottom? The answer is yes. You can factor out a 2 from the top. So this becomes 2 parentheses n minus 1. So you have 2 parentheses n minus 1 over 4 parentheses n minus 1. Look what happens. The n minus 1's cancel. 2 and the 4 reduce to 1/2. And so you are left with 1/2 as your answer. Okay, here's the next one. This is a little bit trickier. So you have n plus 1 times n minus 1 on both of the denominators. Sweet, that's a good sign. But this time you are subtracting, so it's a little bit trickier. So this is like, I'm going to write it up at the top, 2n plus 4 minus parentheses n minus 5. Okay, so since it's minus, you must distribute that negative. So that gives you 2n plus 4 minus, negative times n is negative n, negative times negative 5 is positive 5. Okay, so now we are left with, let's combine our like terms, 2n minus n is just n, right? And then positive 4 and positive 5 gives you positive 9. And then scooch over the denominator, n plus 1 times n minus 1. All right, can you reduce anything? No. Can you factor anything? No. So you leave it just like that. Okay, next one. So we have the same denominator, cool. That's what we need. And looks like the top, so we are subtracting, so we're going to have to distribute a negative, so I'm just going to write it up above. A minus 4b minus parentheses, that second binomial, a plus 3b. Go ahead and distribute that negative, and you have negative a minus 3b. And I'm just going to drop that down. All right, so a minus a, right, those are like terms, they cancel, that's 0. Cool. Negative 4b and negative 3b, that would give you negative 7b. And then just move your denominator over. Can you simplify anything? Yes, the b's cancel. So you're left with negative 7 over 20a squared. And you can write that negative out front or up top, it doesn't matter. It makes the whole negative, or the whole thing negative. Okay, next one. We have common denominator, cool. So I have x plus 4y minus, parentheses, x plus 4y. Go ahead and distribute that negative. So I have this. All right, combine your like terms. So x minus x, well, that's just 0. Positive 4y and negative 4y is also 0. So you have 0 over 8y to the third. 0 over anything is just 0. So your answer is 0. Last one. So we have a common denominator, check. So then you need, and we're subtracting, so I'm going to need to distribute the negative. So I've got this. Go ahead and do that. So it'd be minus n minus 5. All right. Let's go ahead and combine our like terms. N minus n is 0. 4 minus 5 is negative 1. So n, and then your denominator stays that same, n minus 2 over 5, or times 5n plus 2. Perfect. And that is it, I believe. Yep. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day.